Retro Vintage Antique Disneyland. That's how I call this Detling Antique Fair, the biggest one in Kent, by the way. And exactly here I am today, and we are together going to find out something special. Join me for this adventure.
We'll look right away at this porcelain set on a cat on a tray. Look, there are even some markings. £20 for this entire marble. It's incredibly beautiful, of course. But I think one of these pieces was missing a lid. So these are the porcelain ones we have. These are French mugs. Yeah. On a set like this, I think it's £55. This is the second shelf and the bottom shelf, which is quite a reasonable price. So this is ceramic, yes. Also pretty, but I like the previous ones better. Look, they're actually selling these rugs here, these rather massive pieces. And here we have a table with all sorts of little things. Now let's see if I have anything left here. Or if we have one of those bottle openers. I think it's shaped like a pistol. Yes. Okay, before I came here, there was, of course, a huge line. Everyone was rustling through these boxes, so I'm guessing they didn't leave us much, of course, but we'll keep looking. Here's a porcelain figurine of a dog. Okay, look, people are still digging around there for something else. Okay, we have a Dalmatian here. We're looking for a Schnauzer for a subscriber. I'm guessing it should be about this big. The subscriber specifically specified that the figurine should be more than 12 centimeters in. So I'm guessing something like that. An unusual mug with a fox and a rider. A groom. Okay, that's gone. We don't have Toby mugs, we have some kind of jug like that, but from the same series, but... And here, look, what a gorgeous beer mug. I assume it's there with the music box.
Come on, dog.
It's the right size, isn't it?
Yes, the salesman is joking that... Yes, the salesman is joking that this wine mug is just the right size, £20. He's asking for it.
Not sure I need it, to be honest.
You always need a glass. You always need a glass.
Yes, that's it. He's trying to sell it to me. He says, everyone needs mugs, so take it. But I still have enough mugs. Look at this interesting wine cork in the shape of a fireman. Okay, and here we have these old cigarette cases for £10. Yes, the first did. As you can see, the ground is still wet, of course, but the salespeople are there. It's good that they're not put off by the weather, considering we have Detling every 2 months, so it's certainly not worth missing out on such events, so habas. We have a few lighters behind the display case, but all of them are very similar to mine already. And look at this iguana warming itself on the table. So here we have another English porcelain dog, but again, it's not the breed we need. As I've said many times, I'm of course a realist. The Schnauzers are so rare. Look, the lamp is simply gorgeous. Yes? So here we have a watch. Prices start at £50. And in that smaller box, the seller said prices there start at 25. So there's this lighter. Yes, we don't have any brand. The mechanism is very reminiscent of lighters and calibers. But unfortunately, this is not it. And here we have hairs. Our hairs are collectible, by the way, figurines. Royal Albert Mannequin series. So hares or rabbits?
They're
Sorry, how much
asking
are the bunnies? How much
10
are this
pounds.
Det går kudu, so that's how they're asking me to la. Okay, friends, I have an idea. Buy these rabbits for resale and see if I can negotiate a price. So I need to think about it.
Would you do 15 for both? No?
But they don't want 15 of them.
Okay, I'll think about them. Thank you.
I'll go on.
Yeah.
Yes, and as you can see, friends, the wind has already started to blow over. And the seller finally agreed to let me have both for 15 pounds. So we'll take them for 150 pounds each. 7.50 pounds each. And resale price will be pretty good, I think. Even if we manage to sell them for what they cost, there'll still be a profit.
Perfect. That's 10. 15. Lovely. Cheers.
Okay, friends, today's first to find goes straight to our resale list. Here's another interesting item. This beer mug, by the way, it's a limited edition. Look at the military theme. In perfect condition, of course, but it all depends on the price. So that's our military aviation theme.
Sorry, how much is this one?
You're asking 10 pounds for it? Not a bad price at all. But I think we should haggle. And maybe we'll get it for less. Friends, I didn't capture the auction. But in the end, yes, I did take this mug again for resale. So I'll tell you how much I paid for it at the end of the video when we review all of today's finds. So look here, this is a rather interesting mug. I didn't really understand the price, but look, it's silver. Specifically this little circle on top of the mug. I don't know what it's called. Yeah, the price is 28. But here, yes, it's silver. Yes, look, we have an English lion. A hallmark that confirms that the silver is quite nice. Of course, there's not much silver, just a few grams. Probably, but it's quite an interesting item. Yes, they're asking 8 pounds for a tin box like this. There are also a lot of collectors who collect all of these things. Even among my subscribers who are watching this video now, I know there are also fans of such items. So here we have porcelain horses, quite unusual ones. 25 pounds a figurine. They have some short legs. Maybe it's a pony. So Christmas in Bulgaria. Here's a plate. By the way, it seems to me that these sellers of these display cases are not English. They are most likely visiting Bulgarians. There are all sorts of interesting little things, of course, but nothing really caught my attention, in my opinion, except for that mug with a silver rim. Okay, and here are some more hairs. And here, look, it's more interesting. Here we have a captain. Of course, if they all had original boxes, the prices and demand would be even higher. But then again, it all depends on the price.
Sorry, how much is your bunnies?
So here they are selling each figurine from this rabbit series for £12. For £12. So, well, we'll think about it. We'll think about it. I think I've found 4 figurines there for myself. So I might go back and try to haggle. So here we have an ashtray, but unfortunately it's just, look, silver plated. Yes, a silver plate. Of course, if it were made entirely of silver, that would be absolutely fantastic. I'd definitely add it to my collection. And here we have a Sheffield shot glass like this. Look, winners of Sheffield. And again, silver plated. These are quite unusual plates with a portrait. Yes, it's like a wall hanging here. To be honest, I might have seen ones with portraits before, but I just didn't pay attention. But I think this is the first time I've come across in my junk hunting journey. So here we have all sorts of metals too, but everything is so simple. Watch parts. Basheshko Rock to Ronson. But nothing special. Okay, and here, look, another knight. Anyone who watches Detling, this video from that huge antiques fair, knows I have 2 of these. This one, unfortunately, look, the mechanism doesn't work. And he also lost his shield somewhere. He should add a shield in his left hand, but unfortunately, it's not there. Let's see what the watch is here. The timepieces, by the way, are quite good. £10 each. By the way, if anyone is interested in similar old vintage watches, feel free to message me on Instagram or Telegram. All the links to contact me are in the description of this video, so don't be shy, friends. Come on. I'm even thinking, to be honest, about starting to make mystery boxes like this for women soon. I'm thinking of making mystery boxes with all sorts of brooches and other feminine accessories. And for the male audience, I like to make ones with military theme and all sorts of vintage. Kooptoers voor Russians autowatches. So let me know in the comments what you think of the idea. The only thing is, I haven't decided yet how to do it.
Sorry,
mystery boxes and sell them at some, don't know, fixed price or hold some kind of auction and say hold an auction once every 2 weeks, once a month. Say 1 auction for men, 1 auction for women.
Yeah.
So yeah, let me know what you think of the idea.
Oh, looks nice.
Maybe you even have some tips on how to better organize. Just now we noticed a rather interesting Toby mug with a music box. Honestly, this is the first time I've seen one like that.
There's a fella I know that sort of collects that. He goes around with a purpley light. Yeah.
So look, here we have brass taps. Let's get some old butcher's tools, I suppose. And of course there are some gorgeous paintings here, especially these 2 frigates. And here's a rather interesting lighter, but it's from the 90s admittedly. It has a fairly modern mechanism, It's a gas lighter. But behind the display case, we have some more interesting pieces. So friends, I just had a chat with a subscriber who also watches my videos. So if you're watching this video, I send you a huge hello. It was nice to meet people who watch my videos and like them. Okay, and of course he led us in to see this beautiful display case of lighters. And there are a few good ones here, so we'll find out the prices now. So this is a generic Japanese one.
How much are your lighters?
They vary. The Dunhills and the DuPonts are 50 each.
All right.
These range between 10 and 20 each.
She says that her sandy ponds and dances said are 50 pounds, and everything is from 10 to pounds. By the way, it's a mag lighter. Let's see if they have the original battery. Okay, friends, I think there's a little jackpot here. Here, in addition to the original battery, which, by the way, is no longer produced, we also have an adapter for modern batteries, so Danish. Considering the documentation and the original box, we'll have to pick this mag lighter up with you. Okay, look here, we have silver pen, but unfortunately, it's not gold. This nib isn't gold. Okay, I like the look of this lighter, but considering it's not a brand name, I think paying 10 to 20 pounds this is of a stretch. Okay, vanilla. Yeah, the mechanism isn't quite right, unfortunately. But overall, I think this Ronson style pen is also worth picking up.
How much you would ask for this one and this one?
Those are 20 each. That one's 15. I could do it for 35 for the two.
Would you do 30?
Could you make me at 32, just so there's a bit of profit in it for me?
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah?
Yep.
Wonderful.
Friends, we've knocked the price down a bit. She wanted 35 pounds for both lighters. I offered her 30. She asked 32, so I didn't go. That's 30.
Wonderful.
Or
Thank you.
these truly are beautiful lighters.
Have a good day.
Cheers. Bye.
Great addition to my collection, so that's great. Okay, let's continue our journey. Look, we have some kind of, I assume, with banknotes. Yeah, we even a banknote on each page. Look, there's even a description of them. Here we have French ones from WWII. Marks. This is Germany for us. NFI. Okay, something's already starting to fall out of the album. We've got 10 Philippine pieces here. Look, we even have a 250 ruble credit note here. SEO ain't the care. What kind of fives do we have? Tens. Look, even the pound notes are paper. By the way, I never knew that £1 was once paper. I assumed there were always coins, but apparently not. £1 used to be more valuable.
Sorry, how much is your album?
He's asking £15 for this collection, which is in this album together with the album naturally. A good price, but if I'm not mistaken, there was nothing really rare in it. Okay, here we also have some hairs. By the way, I didn't take a video of it for you. Incidentally, I bought 4 hairs there from the previous seller. I managed to haggle with him. I took 4. He then wanted 12 for the figurine. I picked up 4 figurines for 40 pounds. He had some pretty interesting ones. Particularly those rather rare hairs. So I took them for resale. I'll show you all of them at the end of the video. If anyone's interested and collects these hairs again, don't be shy below. Please write all the links and how to contact me in the description of this video, friends. And here we have a rather interesting table. Look, each item has a yellow price tag. It's quite eye-catching. But let's see if we can find anything interesting from this seller. Or maybe he has all sorts of little items like these. By the way, the prices are pretty good. Here, for example, is a woman's Ronson for 4 pounds in pretty good condition. But those who've been watching me for a while know that I have quite a few Ronsons. Like this. I even have identical examples in the original box with all the documentation. Wait, in fact, I think there are even 2. If I remember correctly, So I'm leaving it here for you friends, Zida. While I'm already looking for more exclusive pieces for my collection. Yes, a rather worn out lighter for 2 pounds. And this is a truly modern gas lighter. Overall, of course, it's nice that he has all the prices posted there, but nothing particularly interesting. Except for this chess set, look at this awesome board with its wooden frame, and these boba squares you have to move on, I think, are made from some kind of stone. And they wanted 50 pounds for the board. The only thing that confused me there was that all the pieces were white. One thing, can you tell which ones are which and who moves first? That's the question. And here, look, they even set up 2 rows of tables just to display all the merchandise. It's not hot here, but people are even wearing sleeveless jackets, as you may have noticed. Apparently they're pumped with adrenaline from the treasures they'll find here. So we have these tin trays. They're rare but interestingly themed. These ones are pretty shocking. Of course, you won't make much money on them unless someone takes them in for restoration. This one is in pretty good condition, but Captain, there's no maker, no hallmarks, no markings. So this is a little box, a piggy bank. Guess. The jug is, of course, a serious green one, yes. So, well, here, yes. A battered airplane, unfortunately. So the knives, it just rained lightly, so it got both the buyers and the sellers a bit wet. But as you know, rain never stopped me, so we keep searching, my friends. We keep searching. We're searching all the tables. I think our purchases are definitely still waiting for us today. We haven't even finished outside yet. Yeah, and don't forget, we have 2 whole huge hangars inside at Detling. So now we'll go through everything outside. and then head inside. By the way, here's a question. Who knows? What kind of vase do you think this is? There's some kind of lid. Maybe I've no idea. Maybe you can clearly pour something in there. Why? What for? Look, these are some kind of, I don't know the proper name, masks, faces. Obviously for hanging on the wall. Okay, and here are some knives. But to be honest, this seller's knife collection hasn't changed a bit in the last 12 months. Hasn't expanded. And in my opinion, no one has even bought any of his knives. So he's clearly passed a lot of experts by, and since the experts haven't bought any, it's unlikely there's anything there for us. Well, friends, we've finished the street. Now we'll go through these two huge hangars inside. Here, as always, we have the most exclusive items, the most interesting, and the most expensive. So if you notice anything, as you can see, there are just a ton of items here. If you notice something, or if I missed something, feel free to write in the comments. Look, and here, getting back to the mystery box theme. Look at how many brooches, how many watches. So just grab a bunch of them, tell the seller. £20 for this bunch, right? Then put them up for sale, for example, in a Telegram group or at auction. And whoever's interested, maybe they'll get something from this pile, for example. So yes, don't forget to write in the comments what you think of the idea. I think it's quite interesting. And worth trying among subscribers, I don't know, either sales or an auction. That's another question. Look, there's just a ton of interesting stuff here. I assume these are even watches like this. Look, they close and the bracelet opens and there's a watch inside. Cool stuff. The only thing is, there's no brand or company written on them. So that's how valuable they are. That's for the watch experts to judge, friends. It's up to you, whoever understands this, to decide. So he also has some pretty interesting lighters. Quite a few watches. Look, we have this one. Bubble. They gave me a little bottle. So no, there's no certificate. But there's a box. So here, of course, look, it's more interesting. We have, look, a lighter for a map. I don't have a Corte in my collection yet, of course, but it might be the first one. It all depends on the price. It's a pretty cool mechanism. Look, it lights up immediately when you open it. When you open it, a wheel turns, which knocks the circle out of place through the flint. And there's also a dance shell. Also in pretty good condition, but it needs work. This wheel turns. Well, as for the map, yes, he wants £150 for the picture. Yes, an interesting mechanism, to be honest. I haven't looked into the map too much yet. I need to see their market prices are, and then I'll know next time. So I won't be jumping at £150 right now. I'll research the market prices online, and then I'll be better prepared next time. And honestly, I didn't expect to come across a map. It completely slipped my mind. Yeah, I'll have to do some research.
Well,
You know.
the individual was a nice, much bigger and grander. That's more.
So,
Probably
So how much is this one? Could you do 5? Okay,
I'll think about.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry,
How much is this one?
No price on that. It's gonna
No.
be free.
I'll
Think about
it. Okay.
Thank you.
Everything.
Whopping 85 pounds. And next to it, they're asking 84. A Mazda, a lighter, and a Portar. Considering that I've never bought a Mazda, a Portar, or small nonsense like these at local flea markets for more than 10 pounds. Even my Mazda is a Portar and a lighter, 2-in-1 in the original box, and I think I paid about 8 pounds. That was a long time ago, of course, but then again, prices haven't gone up 8 times for this here. So, yeah, it's up to the sellers to sell, and whether they sell, it depends on how willing they are, I think, too. Or again, there are people who just come to such an antique market for a stroll and like an item, They don't think about how much it costs online. For example, £10, and here they buy it for 80. Yeah. They'll just buy it as a memory, as a souvenir. And in this sense, for the seller, this is the best buyer. People like you and me, of course, are collectors who are more or less versed in this business. We, of course, won't spend that much anymore. Yes. Yes, look, all this is silver. I won't touch it because, as you can see, there are signs that say, please do not touch them. If you want to look at something, ask the seller. And here, look how beautifully these tables, Ronson sparkle. Beautiful in good condition, but then again, anyone who watches videos knows I've probably collected about 10 of these already. I could ship them abroad, I could send them to you, friends, without any problem. But, unfortunately, lighters get returned from customs. So 18. Or 19 pounds. Again, a generic Japanese lighter. But the sellers' tables, of course, always surprise me. They're absolutely overflowing with merchandise. Just look at all the beauty here. Look, we have knives in, canes, sabers, and everything. A collector's could desire, I say. Well, maybe a collector's like too, yes. We have miniatures, all sorts of tanks. Look, there's this tapeable lighter in an original stone fur, 38 pounds. The only thing is, it's more of a Japanese souvenir right here. Again, a generic lighter isn't particularly valuable, so the only reason to buy one is if you're a beginner collector and don't know much about lighters yet, then you could buy one right away. But again, I wouldn't recommend it. They're bulky and heavy. Reselling them is practically impossible, as they're worthless. I'd probably only buy one if you happen to like it, put it in your home, and maybe even use it occasionally. But overall, I certainly wouldn't recommend it. So I found a seller. He always has some very interesting items. We've been chatting with him for a bit now. He says that he really emphasizes, well, naturally, he's a dealer. He buys and resells goods. And he specifically focuses on rather unusual items. Because if you walk down the aisles, many sellers have very similar goods. For example, silver, vases, porcelain. But this one, look, has all sorts of different signs, such, so to speak, quite rare goods that don't come around often. Yes, and last time I saw this seller, I looked at exactly this sign with a set of lighters. In brand new condition, unused. The price is £55, but look, this sign, it hasn't even been unpacked. It's never been on display, so it's quite a unique item. So I don't know what I need to like.
What's the best price you can do on this one?
That's why it's £55. Well, that's what the best price is. How much they can sell it to me for? Although 55, to be honest, is not a bad price, but no one has cancelled the bargaining. So the essence of what we
What's your
have
best price on this one?
is 45.
Would you go down to 40?
45 really would be best. I took one, let's say I get one for 50, so yeah. But they're all individual, they're all lighters, so I mean individually, so 45 would be the best one. If I could, I would, but...
Yes, he says the best he can do is 45. I offered him 40. Naturally, I have to hesitate.
You should know from the other one. if I'm making money on it, I'll do it. But I think it's a bit on the cusp. So give me 2 seconds.
Yep.
Yes, he said he'll check his records now. He says that if he can make a little money on it, even 40 pounds, he'll sell it to me for 40. So, another example, friends, you shouldn't agree right away. You need to stall for a little time.
Yeah, 40 quid.
Me? Yeah. Deal.
Yes, that's how it is, friends. I think, to be honest, he even pretended to look at something there, checking.
Okay, that's good. Here you go, mate. Cheers. Thank you. If you have a bag, that would be great. If you could, please.
Yes,
Yep.
he'll even give me a free bag. So, yes, for 40 pounds, we'll add this beautiful one to our collection. I don't know what to call it correctly. It's an advertising sign. So, yes, it's cool. Don't forget, at the end of the video, I'll definitely do a review of all the products I bought today. I've already bought quite a few. There's plenty to see, friends, and let's continue wandering through the interior pavilions. And look, this, I understand is about, look at the beautiful enamel. Price, 25 pounds. The only thing I'm not sure about is that it comes with a box. But to be honest, it's very beautiful. Look, here we have a cigar cutter shaped like shoe. Quite unusual. I haven't seen one like this before. Usually I've seen cutters made of horn of natural stone. But what about this one shaped like a shoe? This is a first. To be honest, what's so cool about that cutter is that when you cut a cigar, all that unwanted tobacco debris stays inside the shoe and doesn't fly away somewhere. Well, this is certainly a masterpiece. Look, we have silver with amber. Amber.
So how much is this one?
That's 400 pounds, this one.
400 pounds.
I guess that's the real amber, yeah? Yeah.
Yes, he says natural amber. So what? Some really good artists did all this stuff. Beautiful. 400 pounds. The price is not cheap, but I would even say it's decent for such a real treasure, a truly beautiful treasure. The amber. Look at this wonderful mantle clock. Simply a masterpiece. It even winds with a key. Okay, and here we have this Art Deco cigarette case. Not a bad price, considering it's covered in amber. Yeah, and look, there are signs on the table stating all the prices. The seller is willing to negotiate any price. So it's nice to see sellers who are actually willing to haggle. Look, here's a gorgeous teapot. Here we have a sign saying everything is half price today. Okay, I bought some great lighters from this seller at one of the previous fairs, but this time, unfortunately, he doesn't have anything. Exclusive, So I don't know, we won't be able to get much closer there. Well, look, I think you can see all the prices here, so I won't go into detail on those items. Honestly, I still haven't seen my seller who sells all sorts of collectible silver coins from different countries. Because, you know, I've gotten a bit into numismatics. Yes, there are, of course, gorgeous tea trios here. What are they called? When there's a plate and a mug. Then we have a pair. When there's another plate, then we have a trio. Yes, I think the third plate is just for desserts. Yes, the porcelain is gorgeous, of course. So getting back to numismatics, as I already said, I'll be collecting the Baltics, Idiopatics. more generally, European countries before. So to speak, the start of World War II. So, unfortunately, that seller isn't here today. And I haven't come across any particularly collectible coins here yet, other than English ones. Yes, we have another Russian Matryoshka doll. Quite a common item, so to speak, at these English. These suits are so cool. Well, as you can see, friends, there's a ton of merchandise, of course. Sometimes you even come across items like, for example, look at these round cards. I don't know, I've never seen how convenient they are to play, but it's certainly interesting. But again, getting back to the brooches, look, there are boxes and boxes of all kinds of old vintage brooches. Since a lot of my subscribers are commenting on brooches, saying they really like them, I think this whole thing, the Misty boxes, will be a big hit. So my question is, again, for the ladies, anyone watching, if you're interested, please advise me on the best way to do this, and whether this kind of thing with vintage English brooches would appeal to you. So £35? Again, I don't think it's a schnauzer, although even if it is, the figurine is unfortunately too small. Let me remind you, we're looking for a figurine 12 centimeters or taller. Just look at how long it took the seller to display all these wonderful porcelain figurines. They're absolutely beautiful. There are larger dog figurines too, but unfortunately, we haven't come across any schnauzers. Here again, we mostly have Disney and Winnie the Pooh. We also have a few of our own rabbits, which we've already bought for resale. So I think this Schnauzer figurine is a Schnauzer, correct me, but again, look, I think it's too small. Less than 12 centimeters is... Yes, they're asking £90 for such a small one here. I think they even say something about it being from the 18th century. I don't know how true that is. That figurine is in pretty perfect condition. But if it's from the 15th century, it's immediately clear why they want £90 for it. And here it says each item is £20. It says no bargaining, please. This is a tea set, and as you saw on the back, we have the letter B. I don't know what that is. France? Most likely. What do you think? Well, these are more like souvenir collectible coins for us. These aren't even silver. Just these collector's issues. And friends, I couldn't pass by another masterpiece. This is a tobacco pipe. Look, it looks like a dragon's hand is holding some kind of eye. Again, I won't tire of repeating it, how amazing it is to me that all these old pipes are in such pretty good condition, and all with the original case. Cool. Well, here for military lovers, look at how many different guns there are. Even unusual ones. Look at the revolvers with buttstocks. The prices are mostly written everywhere, so feel free to pause the video. Take a closer look. So we have Dunhill lighters here. Again, the Dunhill is rather primitive in its mechanism, in my opinion, even though the lighters themselves are expensive, even old and new. That's why I try to avoid Dunhill, and specifically these types of pieces. I have a couple in my collection. I bought them for 10, 15 pounds in a day. Now they're selling for around 30,000. Look, the Ronson is in the original box with a price tag of 58 pounds. So, yes, getting back to the topic of Dales, if I were to buy one, I think I'd either get a truly rare piece or, of course, a silver one. That would be much more interesting, of course. Look, the pocket watch. We also had spare parts there. Damn, this is a pretty cool table here. 135 pounds in the shape of a horseshoe. And the coolest thing is that we have an ashtray here. And we have, as I understand it, a striker here. You can put tobacco in here. And the coolest thing about this striker table, these are the ones that came before lighters. They have flint. Rods with a wick soaked in flammable. My material. Lakia says, you strike it like a match and it lights. So yes, it's a cool table. Again, in the future, when I buy a bigger house, I'll definitely get one like this. I'm sure I'll come across one again and again. And here, look, a cool lighter with a built-in clock. Considering,
What's your best price on this one?
20.
I have a small Gestalt. I've been collecting lighters for 2 years now, and I don't have a single lighter with a clock. Order. That's why the first one, my friends, the first one in the collection cost 25 pounds, and I even negotiated down to 20. So the Gestalt is closed, so to speak. I already have such a multi-functional lighters. I can't help but be happy about that. So yes, at the end of video, as always, I'll take a closer look at the whole thing. Damn, and here's a really cool caliber cigar case with just such a gorgeous little thing. Look, it even has the original box. This whole beauty was priced at 50 pounds. Again, if there had been a built-in lighter, at least a hint of one, we could have taken it. Or if the cigar case itself had been silver. Yeah. Here, look, what a gorgeous tobacco pipe behind it. Just 3 horses, right? Now that's probably the most beautiful thing I've seen in all my years. Walking through flea markets like these, simply a masterpiece. 220 pounds for such a cast iron dog. And here, for those who are interested in seals, look, 55 pounds. Like this one, seal collectors have written to me more than once. So I try to show them when I come across them, and the smaller one is also 55. There's some kind of coat of arms there. The prices are pretty high, I'd say, for the seal. But then again, everyone collects whatever their heart desires. And each item is worth whatever they're willing to pay for it. True. Here, of course, is a gorgeous barn lock. Look, for 150 pounds, you probably couldn't even cut it with a flex plate. It's probably easier, I don't know, to saw through the wall next to it than to cut this lock. And here, look, this is the brand new. This is our sea foam tobacco pipe. Beautiful. And to be honest, this is the first time I've seen one of these sea foam ones, unsmoked ones. They're not often found, yes, but watches like this are quite common. But none of my subscribers have yet been able to tell me what kind of watch on a chain it is, with a magnifying glass on both sides. The brooch might be made of bone, but a recent law in England prohibits the sale of bone items, even if they're old, made before a certain year. Before, there were things you could sell and things you couldn't produce naturally, but you could sell things that were manufactured before a certain year. Now, if I'm not mistaken, they've passed a law that prohibits it altogether. Very often, inspectors come to these big gatherings and check sellers, and naturally, then they issue fines. So this little tray costs £28. It says it's made of silver-plated brass. I'm not sure, of course, since I couldn't find a single clip. Here, look, it's £200. That's what I understand this radio is. So while I press papier, no fair is complete without it here. I don't know if anyone watching this video collects press papiers. Tell me how many you have in your collection and where you've put it all. They weigh, after all. Well, if you have 100 pieces, well, 5 kilograms. Well, probably not 5 kilograms each, but definitely a kilo. Probably the smallest papier. Top papier. So 38 pounds, these pocket watches. Yes, of course, little things. As I like to say, your eyes run wild. So, and here we have, look, Adolf. So what do you think this is? A coin box. Mechanism, like a coin box. No, where there's this little black boy, but you put a coin in his hand and he takes it in his mouth, or something like that. This one has a similar mechanism, but his hand makes a zag, so I'm not sure you can fit a coin in there. So we have all sorts of cool little things here. By the way, a pretty inexpensive saber, only 35 pounds. So, and here's some kind of theatrical costume. Look, we have this little book of Shakespeare. And in that little box, there's a whole theatrical costume, maybe even from some famous theatrical production.
Normally,
So, some gorgeous compositions. Look at that little crocodile sitting on a wave. And, again, the overpriced rosins, but also, where would we be without brooches? And again, I remind you, dear friends, don't forget to let me know about mystery boxes. As I already mentioned, I have an idea for the women's section to make a stem box with brooches and all sorts of jewelry. And for the men's section to make mystery boxes with all sorts of vintage watches. I don't know what else to send abroad with. Share your ideas in the comments. Also, please share how best to do this. Set a fixed price or make it some kind of auction bill. And if possible, as I already said, we could do it every 2 weeks or once a week on Telegram or wherever else would be most convenient for you. So yes, share your ideas in the comments. I'll read them and we'll choose the best ones. And by the way, let's do it this way. You'll get a discount for the best idea. What percentage is that? We'll see. So yes, feel free to write.
Guys, I hope you enjoyed that Disneyland, vintage Disneyland walk, huh? By the way, there is few bits I didn't pick up on the camera, so now we're gonna have a look everything I pick up today. As you can see, guys, very unusual stuff I picked up today. Wait, well, not talking about the lighters, because that's usually what I'm collecting, but you can see a lot of figurines. That's Royal Downton Bunnykins. We have Marilyn, we have a captain here as well. All are in perfect condition. I will be straight, all this going for sale, as well as this lovely, how do you call it, cup. It's like very close to people who collecting military. I think it's gonna be an easy sell. I think it's even a bargain. I paid only £8 for it. Original price was a tenner. And as well, as you can see, it's a limited edition, so as well very collectible. I think will be an easy sell. For how much I will sell it, I don't know, but I will let you know in my next videos. But now let's have a look what did I pick up for my collection. Obviously, you've seen I did pick up this lovely Ronson in a very good condition. All mechanics works perfectly. And as well, you can see here is some kind of a pen. Well, obviously it should be a pen because it looks like a pen, yeah. But see, some kind of metal is going out. It doesn't have any ink or something, but I believe you can write with it. I don't have a paper to check it out, but if anybody knows what it is and how it works, do let me know in the comments. So yeah, a lighter 2-in-1, a pen and a lighter. Another multifunctional lighter joining my collection. As you can see, that's a Magna, the electric lighter, and it's very unusual one. Obviously, I'm very happy it's in original box and have all the documentation. But this lovely lighter, as I said, it's Magna, have a flashlight inside. It doesn't have a battery yet, but it's in amazing condition and it just works perfectly. As you can see, wick is here, and that metal spring there is getting hot and lights the wick. Another good thing about it, when I was buying it, that was the first thing I checked. It's almost impossible to find the original batteries for these lighters, but as you can see, someone done this kind of a type of an adapter. So I believe you need just 2 AAA batteries, put them in, and they should be working perfectly. In my future videos, I will show you if I did manage to get it work, but I'm sure I will. So yeah, another lighter 2-in-1, a lighter and a flashlight, joining my collection. And another multifunctional lighter, guys. By the way, first lighter with the watch. With the watch or with the clock. Not sure how to say it correctly. Do apologize for my English. But as you can see, it's ticking. So the watch itself works perfectly, as well as the lighter. You've seen the spark, just need a bit of gas. So I believe it's a Maggie Deluxe anti-magnetic watch. Not sure about the lighter, but I believe that's the brand. So yeah, another 2-in-1. Wonderful. Obviously joining my collection. And just look at this amazing piece. It's like an advertising poster or like advertising stand. Never been used. I believe it's like from 80s or 70s. It does have 6 lighters that look like a telephone. Never been used. Original price was 55, I believe, but I did manage to bargain, and I think I paid like £40 for it. Again, for this lighter, original price was 25, I paid 20. For these two, this one was 20, this one was 15. I think I paid something like 30 or 32 pounds. And guys, I did invest a bit in a silver. I did buy 2 1 ounce silver Britannias. Just have a look how lovely they are. For each one of them I paid £80. If you look online from official dealers, they going for 100 plus at the moment, because at the moment silver is somewhere around £70 per ounce. So I think £80 is very good price, even if you check like Facebook groups related to silver coins or just to silver, they're going for like £82, 85 pounds plus postage. So £80 each, good investment. So yeah, definitely let me know in the comments which of today's finds is your favorite, and let me know if maybe you would like to buy something from these items, because all this is going for a sale and I believe it's gonna be a quick one. By the way guys, that was the first Detling Antique Fair for this season, so everything is just starting. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to push that like button, subscribe to the channel, because ahead the season is just starting. Ahead will be much more. If you love antiques, that's the channel you should watch. So as always, I wish you all to find your treasure.